Hey there everybody, Reed here, conductor at Orchestra Farm. Come to you a couple minutes before I head off to work, and I want to chat with you today about freedom. It's a popular word that different people want to experience in different ways, and I've had a lot of explorations in it myself over the years. It's one of those things where there's the ability to just do what you want in your life, and the level of freedom that is, which is great. And then there's also a greater exploration of it. It's one thing, I find the arts is a great place to explore freedom, because there's a lot of wiggle room. If you're growing chickens, for instance, there's only so much freedom that you have. You gotta feed them and things, and there's certain ways to do that work out better than others. And so there's only so much wiggle room in the freedom that entails. But if you get creative with things, then there's a lot more variations of freedom. And so with that, whether you're doing a creative writing project where you let yourself just write whatever, or you maybe set some boundaries up so that way you only write with words that start with M or a W, if you want to get really challenging. And with that, this notion of yes, you can constantly be playing within the lines of things. When you're playing a song with a group of musicians, as for instance, you might want to all play in the same key. And there can be a huge freedom in that. And then there can also be the freedom of, hey, you're going to play in a different key, or in a different time signature. Or if you're doing a painting and you're using primarily reds, suddenly you toss a green in there, or a blue, or a yellow. There's a sudden sense of freedom that comes with those things. There's lots of different ways to explore it, and my personal favorite is really dancing, in the realm of trying to explore the body's natural boundaries of what you're capable of moving with, intermixed with the notion of, do you have to go along with the beat of the song, or can you dance off rhythm to that? The ability to dance off rhythm, to recognize where society is putting their one beat down and where you might want to put a different one, syncopate it a bit, offset it. So many great things have happened in the world by people choosing to go at a different rhythm, to go at a different pace, to go in a different key, to go different color patterns, to plant things in a different way. There's straight up regular modern day industrial agriculture, and then there's permaculture. They're pretty super different. And there's different levels of freedom that come with that, and there's different levels of restrictions that come with it too. And how do we balance the notions of restrictions and freedoms, and recognize that sometimes those restrictions create more freedom, and other times those freedoms create more restrictions? And do we have time and space to play with that in our lives? Are we making a conscious space to discover nuances of freedom that, generally speaking, don't come up in our lives because, we're so busy and we're just going along with the pattern instead of recognizing that we're in a pattern and maybe it's time to interrupt it. Interrupting patterns is, I think, one of the most important things that we can do for ourselves. Otherwise, we're just going along with it. And if we're just going along with it, is that actual freedom? Or are we really just playing out someone or some things plan for us? I love these kind of contemplations. I'm curious how you think about these things. Or do you even think about freedom? Do you even think about exploring the boundaries and the edges of life and the paths that we can take? or how creativity functions with us. I'm seeing all kinds of things I gotta fix here. Oh yeah, that wood just popped off. Anyway, it's gonna be a big day. Because for me, without contemplating these things, it's not a very rich life. And you know, if we're gonna have a poverty mindset, that's one thing. But if we're aiming for an abundance mindset, if we're aiming to live a rich and wealthy life across all the different sectors of living that we exist with and as, then to me we need to contemplate these things and create space in our life to explore them. And that can be both privately in our own little seclusion, or it can be in group context. I think both are actually really important. Tell me how you do this. What are your favorite ways to explore freedom? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing and liking. Thanks for sharing these videos. I super appreciate all that. And again, you can check out my website at bendingreads.com. I've got a book over there you can buy. It's kind of like poetry, kind of like prose. It's good to have these different outlets that we do and to bring them to the world so other people can see it. That's when you take your whatever creative thing you're doing and turn it into art, because you're sharing it with others. So remember to share what's going on in your own life. Have too much fun.